The Navy halts operations today after the second major ship collision in as many months. An investigation is underway. 10 sailors are missing.
This was much darker than I gave it credit for being.
A view that's out of this world. The sight that caught people's attention here in San Diego and around the world.
It kind of has gone through this transformation in 1 century from farmland to a regional center that now is transitioning to a community.
And Mission Valley is headed for big changes and could one day move beyond its shopping mecca designation. KPBS Evening Edition starts right now. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Ebony Monet. A fast-moving fire is burning in East County. The Eclipse fire has grown to 200 acres since about 2 this afternoon. This is a map of the fire on our website. CAL FIRE is saying it now threatens 20 homes. The fire has forced evacuations on the Campo Indian Reservation. We are following this story and will bring you updates online at kpbs.org. The head of the Navy ordered a rare operational pause today after the second U.S. destroyer of the summer collides with a freight ship in Asia. KPBS military reporter Steve Walsh has been following the story.
The USS John McCain hit an oil tanker Monday outside of Singapore. The Navy is still searching for 10 sailors missing since the disaster. This is the latest in a string of mishaps in the Pacific. Last week, the leadership of the USS Fitzgerald was relieved of command after their destroyer collided with a freighter in June just outside of Japan. This morning, Chief of Naval Operations Admiral John Richardson outlined the Navy's response in a video released on Facebook.
I've directed an operational pause be taken in all of our fleets around the world. I want our fleet commanders to get together with their leaders and their commands to ensure that we're taking all appropriate immediate actions to ensure safe and effective operations around the world.
Richardson told reporters in Washington that commanders will look at things like how the Navy develops ship drivers and the operational tempo of the U.S. fleet in Japan, a busy area of the world that includes the South China Sea and North Korea. The 24-hour pause is expected to happen on a rolling basis over the next week or so, depending on the discretion of commanders. Richardson says he wants to get to the root causes of these mishaps. The pause is coupled with a long-term review of naval operations chaired by the head of Fleet Forces Command. Steve Walsh, KPBS News.
A San Diego-based warship responds to the USS McCain disaster. The USS American has docked alongside the crippled ship in Singapore. The Navy says it will provide food and shelter to the McCain crew members and support damage control efforts on board. USS America's aircraft is also helping in the search for the missing sailors. Tonight, President Trump will announce his new strategy for America's longest war. NPR reports he plans to deploy about 4,000 more Army troops in Afghanistan. After 16 years, there are currently about 5,000 troops on the ground there, training and supporting Afghan forces in their fight against the Taliban. We will bring you the president's address at 6 o'clock tonight here on KPBS, followed by special coverage from PBS NewsHour. KPBS Evening Edition will not be seen at 6:30 tonight.
You hear everyone going crazy here. You should be able to start seeing stars, and we can actually see 4 planets. This time you should see 2.
The much anticipated total eclipse lives up to the hype in Beatrice, Nebraska. Those are spectators at the official NASA Watch site. Being in the path of totality made Beatrice a popular destination for eclipse gazers. The moon completely covered the sun for only a few minutes, but partial eclipses like the one experienced here lasted about 2 hours. This was the first total eclipse to cross the nation since 1918. In San Diego, thousands gathered at the Fleet Science Center and Balboa Park to see the relatively rare cosmic event. And KPBS science reporter David Wagner was right there with them.
The plaza outside the Fleet was swarming with people before the eclipse even began. Morning clouds cleared up just in time for eclipse gazers to get a clear view of the moon passing in front of the sun.
Oh, fantastic!
Thousands of people had shown up by the time the eclipse peaked, with the moon covering about 60% of the sun. William Oliver with the San Diego Astronomy Association was thrilled to see so many people turning out.
This is amazing to see this many people, because I know that all of them are out here for the eclipse, for the science. And so it's absolutely amazing to see that people are taking an interest in an event that won't happen again for a long time here in the United States.
San Diego City College astronomy professor Lisa Will was on hand to answer eclipse questions from the public, but she said this event holds interest for professional astronomers too, particularly those in the path of totality, who could capture images of the sun's bright, mysterious halo called the corona.
We can only see the sun's corona from here on the ground of the Earth when the moon helps us out by blocking the yellow ball, by blocking the photosphere, the brightest part of the sun. And so we still don't really understand the intricacies of the solar corona, so it's always good to be able to look at that.
Whoa, it's like orange.
The next partial eclipse won't be visible in San Diego until October 2023. David Wagner, KPBS News.
While many of us were watching the solar eclipse, engineers and managers with California's power grid worked to keep the power on across the state. As Sherry Gyro reports, crews had to fill in the blanks while the state lost solar power for 3 hours.
No, you didn't. Don't look at it.
All eyes were on the sky at the California Independent System Operator as dozens of workers came out to spot the eclipse.
So the California ISO has its own application, and the application goes ahead, and if you hit on renewables, you can see that we've already lost 1,000 megawatts in the past 20 minutes.
But back inside, it's all business as Cal ISO employees work hard to manage California's power grid. For the past year, they've been pulling together reserves to make sure California and parts of Nevada have enough power during the 3-hour period when the moon blocks the sun. Cal ISO purchased 1,000 megawatts of power from different sources, like hydropower and gas supplies, to fill the gap. On a normal day, they only have to buy 350 megawatts.
It's going to be about 5,600 megawatts that we're going to have come off of the grid, and we're going to have to replace with other generation. And the challenge of that is how fast it's going to happen, and we also always have to balance supply and demand.
I'm inside the operating station, and if you take a look behind me right here, these folks are dealing with what is happening right here, right now. And if anything ever goes wrong with the eclipse or anything else, these folks are on top of it to keep the lights on.
Because this is what we do every day of every year, every second of every day of every year.
You can see that we've already lost 1,000 megawatts.
At about 10:22 a.m., the eclipse was at its peak in Sacramento. That's when solar power sources hit bottom. But just like that, it started coming right back.
We did not have to scramble. I just got an update from our floor, and we've had no issues.
For the power grid, it's just another rainy day. But for us, an exciting lifetime event.
That's really impressive.
From the state capitol, this is Sherry Gyro reporting.
California lawmakers are taking on sexual harassment in the venture capital industry, with new legislation being introduced this week. A new Senate bill would clarify protections for entrepreneurs under a civil rights law. Lawmakers say this follows a number of reports by businesswomen who say they've been harassed when seeking investments.
The extent of sexual harassment where women who simply want to pitch an idea, a technological opportunity to these investors are finding themselves, rather than being successful in that effort, are being propositioned or essentially told a quid pro quo. If you want money, then you're going to have to extend sexual favors.
The bill is expected to be heard in committee in January. Robots are being put to work in much greater number than in the U.S. and Europe. But AP reporter Mike Householder says that doesn't mean they're taking the jobs of humans.
Japan is such a robot-friendly nation that it even has a hotel where a humanoid greets you.
Welcome to the...
A dinosaur checks you in.
If you want to check in, please press 1.
And a motorized carrier takes your things to your room. Machines also do all the heavy lifting in this Asahi factory near Tokyo, where Japan's top brewer churns out 1,500 six-packs a minute. As with the hotel in Nagasaki, the contraptions at the plant couldn't do what they do without some human help.
In terms of motions, robots can move more accurately, but they cannot analyze the condition of what is being produced, so that is our job.
Fears of robots stealing jobs from people are more of an issue in the U.S. than they are in Japan, where birth rates have been falling for decades, raising concerns about a labor shortage.
Japan's industries call it the harmony of work and machinery, where you divide work between humans and machines, depending on which is better at that particular job.
It would be tough to find a culture that celebrates robots more. But they're not job killers. Major Japanese companies typically retain workers even if their abilities become outdated and retrain them for other tasks. Robot workers in Japan provide their human counterparts with peace of mind about their job security. Because even if their current position goes the way of the dinosaur, they know another one is right around the corner. Mike Householder, Associated Press.
Mission Valley has long been a San Diego shopping mecca. It's come a long way since 1774, when its most prominent establishment was the San Diego Mission. Now there's more changes coming. In the first part of a two-part series, KPBS editor Tom Fudge reports on the new vision for Mission Valley.
There was a time, and it wasn't long ago, when Mission Valley was farmland. Photos from the 60s show rows of turnip plants and grazing dairy cows owned by local farmers.
When they built Interstate 8 or 80, back in those days, the deal with the landowner was he still had to get his cows to the river. And so they left a tunnel under it so they could take the cows down to the river, to get their water.
They could go under the freeway.
Under the freeway, yeah. I always wonder whatever happened to the tunnel.
The completion of the I-8 freeway in San Diego in the early 60s was the beginning of the end of that era. The Mission Valley Mall was put in, and the valley became a suburban shopping destination. Now, another shapeshift is on the horizon. Rob Hutzel is a member of the Mission Valley Planning Group and a fourth-generation San Diegan. In Mission Valley, he sees opportunity.
It kind of has gone through this transformation in one century from farmland to a regional center that now is transitioning to a community. And that's what's happening. We're seeing a change from the big box retails and those sort of places, which are really important to San Diego still. But now you see 20,000 people living in the community and the expectation to double that population in the next few decades. Where are all those people going to go?
San Diego city officials are hoping to see the answer to that question in a community plan update that's expected to be done by the end of next year. There are a lot of question marks on the landscape. The biggest one may be the future of the Qualcomm Stadium site. But planners and observers seem to agree the valley is bound to become a place to live and one answer to San Diego's housing crisis. The 200-acre Riverwalk Golf Course is planned to become a mixed-use development with more than 4,000 housing units. The soon-to-be redeveloped Town and Country Center will lose some hotel and convention space and become the site of 840 homes. In fact, there's one major housing development that's well underway. Savita has come to the valley.
It brings, I would say, a well-balanced community. It brings in residential, but along with it, it brings in neighborhood services that are and will be an amenity to those residents. It will bring employment area. It brings the first true park to Mission Valley that we're in here in the Savita Park.
The development called Savita is just north of Friars Road on a property that used to be a rock quarry. There is a 14-acre park in the middle of it with a splash pad. It already has a rec center, dog parks, and basketball courts. And it has an array of townhomes, condos, and detached homes that range in price from $400,000 to $1.2 million. Marco Sesa is the point man on the development for Sudbury Properties. He says Savita expects to ultimately have a retail center, a public school, and a population of 9,000 people. Timothy Green, who has lived in Savita for about a year, called Mission Valley a hub that's very convenient.
Anywhere you want to be in San Diego, you can get within 5 to 15 minutes.
His buddy, Doug Parsons, agreed.
Great location. You guys you're right off the freeway. You've got all of the shopping centers to both sides of the complex. Obviously, this is beautiful.
Sesa also serves on the Mission Valley Planning Group.
Mission Valley as a whole really have two really critical components that drive and will shape the past and future of the valley, and that had to do with the location of the trolley and the location of the San Diego River and how development either celebrates or turns its back away from the river.
He says eventually Savita will have a pedestrian bridge across Friars Road to better connect to the Rio Vista Green Line trolley stop. Tomorrow, we'll look at the many connections and places that are sorely needed to make the valley a good place to live. Tom Fudge, KPBS News.
A homeless Iraq war veteran has a unique place to finally call home. An apartment in Orange County made of shipping containers. Associated Press reporter Amanda Myers says the complex for homeless veterans is believed to be the first of its kind.
It's moving day for 44-year-old Vernon Poling. With just 4 walls, it's a modest place, but 480 square feet feels palatial to this Iraq war veteran. Poling never had a home of his own until now.
To finally have my own place, it feels really good. Looking forward to it. Jackson Street.
After high school, he joined the Army and lived in barracks until he left the military. He lived with family for a time after that, but it didn't work out. He ended up living out of his pickup truck.
There's going to be times where you're not awake and conscious and you can't guard your vehicle. Somebody could come up, break the window out. You need to be aware. You can't really relax. You can't honestly relax. So, for a vet who's got PTSD, this doesn't help the situation.
But homeless veterans like Poling are getting help through a nonprofit in Orange County, California, known for Disneyland and high housing costs. Potter's Lane is an apartment complex made out of shipping containers.
This is the first of its kind project with shipping containers for multifamily housing for homeless. Our veterans are trained in the military to take care of each other. They're there to watch each other's backs, so we wanted to make sure that we had a design that built on that strength.
Homeless advocates say the need is great. While the county has far fewer homeless than neighboring Los Angeles, it has seen a 13% increase since 2013.
A little over 350 veterans in this county are experiencing street homelessness. That means they're literally living on the streets at any given point in time. And that is really unacceptable in a county like Orange. We should be able to house our homeless veterans.
Poling is now settled in his new apartment, finally learning what it's like to get a good night's sleep.
Being able to actually sleep on a full-size bed is great, and being able to use my CPAP, because I have sleep apnea, reliably without being worried about whether or not my pickup truck is going to start in the morning because I spent all that electricity draining the battery. It's nice. It's a load off.
A weight lifted having a place to call home. Amanda Myers, Associated Press, Midway City, California.
I'm Hari Srinivasan. On the next News Hour, Miles O'Brien reports from his perch in eastern Idaho, directly in the path of totality of the solar eclipse. That's Monday on the PBS NewsHour.
More sunshine and low clouds for San Diego. Regina Miller has tonight's forecast.
Well, as we take a look here across California, you can see things mostly dry conditions, especially down into San Diego. But as we take a look into southern Nevada, into Arizona, that's where our monsoonal moisture is, up into the mountains here of central California. But in San Diego County, as we go through tonight, we're looking at dry conditions here with our satellite and radar. We will have some increasing late night clouds, a temperature of 67 degrees. And that's in the metro areas. As we take a look at what is going on here across the county, Borrego Springs is at 76 degrees, Mount Laguna 56 degrees with a few passing clouds around in Mount Laguna. Oceanside bottoms out at 61 degrees. For your Tuesday, a couple of isolated storms pretty much in the same locations where we're going to see some of those into parts of Arizona, Nevada. Staying dry here, very dry, very warm across the southwest. So our temperature in Ramona is 88 degrees, 106 in Borrego Springs. In Oceanside, we have sunshine in the afternoon after morning clouds at 77. San Diego is at 77 as well. And then along the coastline, turning sunny again on Wednesday after some morning clouds. Turning sunny on Thursday at 74. 77 degrees with those clouds breaking on Friday, and 79 humid on Saturday. As we take a look inland here, low clouds giving way to sunshine, 84 degrees. For Tuesday, 83 is your daytime high on Wednesday and Thursday with low clouds, then sun. Heating up, 88 by Friday and 91 with sunshine, very warm on Saturday. In the mountain areas, mostly sunny and 78 for Tuesday, 77 partly sunny on Wednesday. But look, things heating up here as well. By the time we get to Friday, we're at 81 under brilliant sunshine, mostly sunny and warm, and 86 on Saturday. And in the desert areas, we're at 106 on Tuesday, 104 and sunny on Wednesday and Thursday, 107 for Friday, and you're heating up to 110 by Saturday. I'm Regina Miller, KPBS News.
There's the quirky, the unusual, and then there's Art Queen, an art museum in Joshua Tree Desert, unlike what many people have ever seen. Its latest exhibit showcases creations made from once edible, discarded materials.
This was an old PhotoQuick building, and it was sitting by the side of the road. I really wanted this building. I didn't know why. I thought maybe I was just going to put it in my yard. And then it all came together when I realized I could put my crochet museum in here. And I like the crafts of old ladies. I sometimes say they are goddesses. I love that they're so human and they're so made with love and made with heart. They're colorful, they're happy, they're playful. Every estate sale, garage sale, church rummage sale, thrift store I went to, I would find all this crochet goodness. I love these cups with crochet Oreos. This is a crochet taco. I'm really fond of the poodles. This is a very large poodle wing I have here. We've got Bert and Ernie, and during one of the gay prides that we have at Art Queen, somebody stuck that sticker on. Basically, I've jokingly said that I'm unemployable because I don't like working for other people. So I've had to make my own jobs. I've been a house cleaner. After I was a nanny for a year, I decided to be a seamstress, and I was doing my art. I had a bunch of art on my walls, and friends were saying, it might be time for you to actually show your art somewhere to someone. And so around that same time, I messed up 3 customers' sewing projects. They were upset. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, I'm getting yelled at for something I'm not really enjoying anymore. I think I'm going to try to support myself on my art instead of my sewing. Because seamstress, you have the word stress in that. And I just, it was too stressful. And I have a song called The Seamstress. I wrote that song at the time I was transitioning out of my job into an artist, which is pretty cool. I often tell people, if they want to transition out of your job to the job you want to be doing, just write a song about it. I was charging $20 an hour for my sewing business, so I'm going to charge $20 an hour for my art. I'm going to take it to the flea markets. So when I see people working at a job, and I think that maybe they think they have to work there forever, I feel so sad because I busted out of the box. What if people, instead of working for $8 an hour minimum wage or whatever it is, are willing to work for $8 an hour and do their art? This was a painting I did recently, Jesus, and then I also did a Jesus with his kittens painting recently, and I thought they were so cute that I had to make t-shirts. The germination of the whole idea of Art Queen was we wanted to show art that you weren't going to expect seeing in just a fresh and new way, because we didn't have to make money here. So we could just have fun with it and discover artists that we thought were interesting that you might not see. We, in Art Not Walmart, right now are meeting every Tuesday from 2 to 5 p.m. here at Art Queen. When you're continually meeting together, we get to know each other. It's kind of like group therapy in a way. I just see signs of all of them getting happier, more confident. They're having a voice that's being discovered in each of them as an artist.
I love what Sherry's doing because I'm here to tell you, I used to clock in at Walmart and it is no fun. It'll kill your soul.
I have other people to share with my creativity, and that's really nice. They're very supportive.
They'll buy all my paintings. I'm very happy. My son, he has autism for the first time in his life. He goes to group every week and he paints and he joins in the group painting, and it's just been so amazing.
Good job. Yeah, stay out of Walmart, dude. You're off to a good start, man.
There's nothing like selling a painting. Last night I bought a painting from Nathan that I really love. It's Jesus painting. And he was so happy. He took 2 boards home to paint some more last night. What I'm hoping is they will learn to find their art and that their art will take them wherever it's supposed to take them. And this is just a starting point to get them together to do their art every Tuesday and to have the support around them of people saying, wow, I love that, and people buying it and getting confidence. Maybe I'm taking myself seriously as a mentor, as an elder that wants to help nourish people that are just starting or that have promise and creativity to help them develop more.
That story was from Artbound, a production of KCET in Los Angeles. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/Evening Edition. We leave you with a look at how some of the KPBS staff spent a few minutes of their morning during the partial solar eclipse. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.